Well, let's talk now to Daniel Harrison, the automotive expert at Ultima Media. Daniel, welcome. Good to see you. Why do you think the car industry in particular was excluded from this 90-day pause?
Yeah, good to speak with you. I think there's two main reasons. The first, which is that Donald Trump for a long time has decried the large trade imbalance that he perceives is damaging to the US in terms of vehicles in particular. So Europe exports vastly more vehicles to North America than vice versa. I mean, there's many reasons for that, not least that many North American vehicles, and particularly US vehicles, are not actually passing safety standards. For example, in the US, the Tesla Cybertruck can't be sold in the UK and Europe for a number of reasons. So, but also, I think also the notion that he's going to reshore a lot of manufacturing jobs to the US in new car plants with new investments plays well, particularly with Trump's voter base. This sense that he can bring back jobs to America, bring back, make America great again is his favorite phrase, is what he plays in. I mean, there's a number of flaws with that argument too, because so many automotive plants nowadays, especially on the battery and the electric vehicle side, are so highly automated that we're talking about relatively few jobs that would come back, even if those investments take place. So I think they're the two key reasons.
We get preoccupied talking about cars, but it's also worth talking about the car component suppliers, which is equally as significant, and the wider supply chain. I mean, what are the short and long-term consequences for both of those enormous associated industries?
Absolutely. I mean, the automotive supply chain is one of the most complex and globalized in the world. People underestimate that. And we've had, 40 or 50 years of globalization and relatively free trade, particularly in North America, within the USMCA free trade agreement, formerly NAFTA area. And that has developed in such a way that's extremely fine-tuned and requires lots of components from all over the world. And to suddenly upend that by imposing these trade barriers will cause enormous disruption, almost like a COVID-style shock if they go ahead. I mean, we've seen, people trying to, OEMs and tier suppliers try to sort of stock up with inventories in advance of this and finished vehicles as well. But that's a short-term measure in the hope that this will be a temporary tariff. In the longer term, we're going to see massive issues around sourcing components, trying to reshore as much production within North America or the US as possible. But it's going to be highly disruptive is the bottom answer.
What does this mean for American car buyers in simple terms?
Vehicles prices are going to go up. Simple as that. This is ultimately a tax on consumers, and that's widely accepted amongst leading economists and industry observers. If you add a tax or a tariff to the import of those parts, whether it's coming from China, Europe, or even Canada and Mexico, because I believe these tariffs will also apply to non-USMCA content, that will inevitably increase the cost of the vehicle. Most automotive production has a margin of around 5 to 6% at best. So if you're going to apply a 25% margin, whether it's on the individual components or the finished vehicle, clearly prices will have to rise to make that product viable to be sold.
Daniel, thank you for that. Daniel Harrison, the automotive expert at Ultima Media.